Hi Gemini, welcome. So Gemini, this is going to be your spiritual tarot reading, and we're going to go ahead and get straight into it. Gemini, I felt called to do this reading, by the way. You're not usually the first sign out when I do the spiritual readings, but for whatever reason, I felt like Gemini energy was present, and then I kept trying to start the video and kept getting caught up on my words, or I would start coughing, and then I remembered, oh my gosh, yes, Mercury is in retrograde until the 18th, which we're getting close to the end of, but of course there's that post-shadow phase. And then I was thinking, well, Mercury, that's kind of Gemini energy, so maybe that's why I felt called to do this reading. You may also be having trouble with finding things or losing your thought process mid-sentence, or there could even be throat blockages, throat chakra blockages going on if there's any sort of blocked communication or miscommunication. It's just, I feel the energy running pretty high right now. And yeah, like I said, I felt called to do this reading. And then when I started the reading, I got two other messages out, or two signs, and it was Virgo and Scorpio. Some of you could have Virgo and Scorpio in your chart, or have some sort of relation to that energy during this time frame. I have not done those zodiac signs yet, but when I do, check them out, and you may resonate with that energy as well. So Gemini, let's get straight into it. You have the 8th house showing up of intimacy, which is an intense energy, right? But it also talks about investments, contracts, of course, our intimate sexual desires. Talks about our Kundalini energy. Sometimes this could be a bit mysterious, even a bit obsessive type of vibe, so be careful with that, especially if you have Scorpio in your chart. And I cannot get this song out of my head. I have no idea what relation it could have to this, but it may resonate with someone. But the song, it's Chris Cornell, I'm Going Hungry. I know that's not, I don't think that's the name of the song, but that's a lyric in it. He says, I don't mind stealing bread from the mouth of decadence. I don't mind stealing bread from the mouth of decadence. I'm going hungry. You may randomly hear that song over the next few weeks. If so, come back to this reading. I'm not sure what Chris Cornell's birthday is. That may have some relevance. Or just the lyrics to the song. Take it or leave it. You know what I mean? But anyways, Gemini, you have the 9 of Pentacles here, the 3 of Cups, and the Magician. I also feel like really, it's like a rushed type of feeling. There might be a lot going on in the headspace, or a lot of things you need to be taking care of during this time frame. It is the beginning of the year, which tends to be a busy time, but I just feel like this rush of energy coming through, and yet it seems like a little bit all over the place. So it may also feel a little bit disorganized as you start out the year and go through January into February. But I feel like when the retrograde ends and the post-shadow phase ends, you might get a reprieve from that, Gemini. Not a really good time to communicate, you know, your thoughts on things that are really meaningful to you until this energy passes. So end of January, early February. But yeah, I feel somewhat restless, you know. So yes, you may be feeling that energy. You have here the card of comfort, celebrations, and magic. It's interesting because this showed up in the reverse, which to me is like, there's a little bit of uncomfortableness, it seems here. And it could be around a specific relationship or relationships in general. But it's paired with the 3 of Cups, which often talks about relationships, right? Sometimes it can talk about reconciliations. There might be something here that needs to be reconciled, and yet it's uncomfortable, right? It's uncomfortable to think about or to discuss. And again, there's that message here about just give it time, you know, wait a little bit until the energy improves before you move on anything. There is the possibility of manifesting something coming together as it relates to relationships or your intimate life. But it could also be to deal with investments and contracts, so keep that in mind. This is not just this reading is not based solely on love, so it could be any area of your life. But let's get into it and see. We're going to go into the headspace and see what you have going on there. And then we're going to look at the heart space and see what you got going on there when it comes to love and emotions. And then we're going to look at the big spiritual picture here. So, Gemini, 10 of Swords, the Emperor, the Star in the reverse, Aries, Aquarius energy here for some of you. There's that song again. Okay, so I just feel like super scattered brained. There's this message here, Gemini, about finding closure or putting an end to something. And this is talking about on an emotional, energetic level. It's not talking about you taking any physical action or speaking this. It's something that is closing out on an energetic level here. I don't mean to keep pausing, but there's something meaningful going on in the energy for the collective, and it has to deal with watching your motives, right? Like, are you putting an end to something to maintain a sense of control? Or is it because that's really what you want? That's a question to ask yourself. Is there... Hold on, I want to get this correct. There it is again. My gosh, please stick with me. There's this message here about like whatever actions you're taking when it comes to something meaningful that's going on to you in the emotional sector. Are the actions that you're taking truly in alignment with what you want? Because sometimes we say and do things to save face or to have a sense of control, or sometimes out of our ego, but it's not necessarily what we're actually wanting out of that situation. And hold on a second. What the heck, guys? I have not had trouble with this all day. So let me give you an example. You know when like, goodness gracious, get it off your chest already. Okay, I know I just said wait till the retrograde passes, but seriously, somebody is seriously blocking some communication here or stifling their own energy to the point that it's kind of hard for me to get through the reading. So, let me give you an example of what I mean. Like, say you're really mad at someone and you're like, don't contact me ever again. But truthfully, you do want them to contact you. You actually want communication with them, but for whatever reason, you're not getting that out of them. And so our ego likes to go to extremes, like, well, I'll just block you, or, you know, never talk to me again, even though we don't mean it, you know. It's something like that where there's like this extremist energy of like saying one thing, but that's not really what you wanted, you know, or like saying I want to be left alone when in reality you want that person to chase you. You know what I mean? That there's a contradiction between something that's being said or actions that have been taken versus what is genuinely going on underneath the surface. And it's literally blocking healing coming in to a situation when it could be aired out, when you could find some sort of connectivity around it and have a new beginning. But it's like sometimes, you know, our mind, our ego will not allow us to go to that loving space of truly expressing what we're really feeling on a vulnerable level because of fear, usually fear of being misunderstood, being hurt, being walked over. Some of you have a fear of like somebody not taking you seriously or walking all over you should you, you know, maybe open up or be vulnerable on that level. But okay. There's also this message about remembering this, Gemini, that how other people treat you is their karma. How you choose to respond is yours, right? So say you are vulnerable with someone and they choose to use it against you. Is that a wrong that you've done? No, right? Because you're not responsible for their response. But you can, with a clear conscience, know that you honored yourself by expressing, by taking whatever action, whatever. There's this message here about truly honoring yourself and not making it about, the ego or the response or the reaction. And if this isn't you doing it, it could be that you're dealing with someone, right? Flip the roles, where someone is, saying things to you that they don't truly mean or in alignment with, which honestly, the universe is a mirror, right? So generally speaking, how you perceive another or how you perceive others in general is usually a mirror of how you perceive self, okay? And people tend to mirror back to us same or similar behaviors, right, than we're displaying. Relationships, especially intimate relationships, often act as a mirror to what we have truly going on internally. So if somebody's seemingly unfair to you, it's always nice to take a step back and ask yourself, are you being fair to them? And it's called self-reflection, right? And I think to a high degree, we're all capable of doing that, but a lot of people refuse to do that because the ego always says, I'm right. And that's because in Spirit's eyes, we are all right and divine and worthy, right? But sometimes when we fail to self-reflect or see our contribution to things, it doesn't necessarily result in what we want. And there's something that's occurred here that's not given you the results that maybe you had hoped for. And again, it's either to deal with relationships, or for others of you, this is to deal with contracts and investments, the career job sector. So take it as it's resonating with you. But there's something here about like making sure that when the energy dissipates and we go through January, that your words and actions align with how you actually feel. And notice how freeing that is, right? Because nothing feels worse than what's saying one thing and feeling another. That's what tears us apart, when we don't honor how we really feel, right? So, yeah, I'm sorry. This isn't a traditional tarot reading. I'm just saying it as it comes to me. I hope this is making sense to some of you. There's also like a really serious vibe here. Like, I like to try and keep the readings as light as possible, but I just feel a lot of seriousness in the energy for whatever reason. And you do have the 8th house here, which tends to be a more serious energy. So 3 of Wands, 6 of Pentacles. Are these in the reverse? Okay, you got a lot of reversals here, and the 2 of Cups showing up. Ace of Pentacles in the reverse, Queen of Pentacles in the reverse, 9 of Wands in the upright. So it's like there's all these things that you want to do moving into the future, right? And on an emotional level, I feel like you're ready to move past something, but the ego is blocking. I can't get around that. Or someone you're dealing with possibly is doing that. But it's like, it's right here. Like the universe is wanting to give an opportunity to open up or to reciprocate, or for others to do that towards you, but there's this defensiveness, there's this guardedness, there's this stubbornness that is blocking some sort of progress, and making things more uncomfortable than it needs to be, right? Sometimes, I saw a quote on this the other day on Facebook where it said, confrontation is uncomfortable, but what's even more uncomfortable is with living with words that are never said. And there is a way to respectfully and lovingly express yourself in a way that is not confrontational, but that gets your point across. And I feel like there's that fine line there, Gemini, between having a dialogue versus having a confrontation. And for some reason, they're really wanting to highlight the difference between the two, because it's like there's reciprocity that could come out of a situation. There's a new opportunity here, but it requires an opening, right? Like an opening up here, and and to be open-minded, okay, on both sides or all sides of the situation, whatever it may be, in order for things to come together. But most of the time, we think it's other people that are holding us away from what we want, but the majority of the time, all the time, it is us that hold ourselves away from our true desires based on how we're handling the situation, perceiving it, and flowing our energy. We have a lot more power over our lives than most people think, because they don't understand that their thoughts are the beginning of creation, and what they create in their mind manifests into their life. And that includes your expectation and perception of others, molds your relationship with them. You know, if you hold a very strong negative expectation towards a person, you'll never get anything out of that connection other than a negative experience, because that's how powerful your perception is. If you have a very strong positive expectation and you genuinely mean it, not just wishfully thinking it, but you genuinely feel strong positive love towards a person, they reciprocate, they feel that. You pull that out of them. It is your expectation that sets the tone to every relationship that you have in your life. And I'm not saying that other people don't get to also choose their expectation, right? But most people are so easily influenced by other people's energy that they succumb to whatever they think the other person is thinking, right? So say you go into a connection and you have a really strong positive expectation, and then you interact with that person and you start to feel that they maybe don't see you in the same light, and maybe they don't hold you to the same high expectations, then most people will then lower their expectation of that person and meet them where they're at, and you get a mix within that connection. But if you were to maintain your positive highest frequency, regardless of whether the other person reciprocates, this is called unconditional love, it's hard, but it's doable, then eventually that person would have to rise to the occasion, or the universe would bring you someone who is going to meet that expectation. I don't know why I'm going into this as well. There's a lot going on here beneath the surface, Gemini, and it has to deal with expectations and relationships. But it also has to deal with dialogue versus confrontation. It could go either way over the next 30 days, okay, whatever you have going on. But there's also this message here about saying what you mean and meaning what you say. So I also want to relate the expectation aspect to money and jobs, because people think that's different, but it's not. Energy flows the same. If you have a high expectation of receiving abundance from the universe and you genuinely believe it, it must be yours, right? If you have a low expectation, you think it's always a problem, it's a struggle, you don't have the skill set, you don't know what to do, guess what? You're going to get more of that. And so they're saying across the board, Gemini, to raise your standards. To raise your standards. And this is not by taking any action or even speaking anything. This is internally. What do you tell yourself? So let's go deeper. I'm not even sure this is going to appeal. I hope this is appealing to those it's meant for, because this is very untraditional type of reading, but this is how it's coming to me, and hopefully it's not all over the place, and if it is for you, it's resonating with you. So Justice card, the Nine of Cups. Ten of Pentacles in the reverse. And the Queen of Cups. So, Gemini, there's this message here about keeping the balance and finding some sort of peace in your life, right? And that's what is bringing about success for you. There's like this unrest here, though, like this restlessness that seems to be going on. Also, if you have a lot going on when it comes to security or finances, this is going to clear up, right? But they want you to hold a higher expectation of what the universe is able to deliver you in the form of solutions. You know, to genuinely know that there are solutions being delivered to you all day, every day. It's just, are you in receptive mode or not? Meaning, are you in the space of looking for and paying attention to the signs and being open to the ideas or not? Meditation would help you a lot. I feel really scattered again in the energy. It's almost like, it's a feeling of like, I don't even know where to begin. You know what I mean? Have you ever been like trying to recount or tell a story and you're like, I don't even know where to begin? Like, how do I even untangle what I'm feeling or what I'm thinking? And it's just seeming so convoluted almost. But there's peace here that's available. There is a solution that's wanting to come in if you are open to it, right? There's a need to find a way to lighten up a little bit, okay? The energy seems super intense. So I feel like needing to take a step back and give yourself some breathing room, Gemini, is definitely beneficial to you. Finding balance. Also, having some more organization throughout your day to keep you on task would be helpful because, again, I feel very all over the place. The messages are also coming in seemingly all over the place. It's like you're trying to think of too many things at once and it's not assisting you. It's just kind of muddying the waters around the situation. There is stability here available to you, an opportunity, reciprocation, but it's like you got to get into alignment before that can happen, right? It's like the universe is wanting to present to you some sort of solution or reconciliation here, but some of you are kind of out of alignment, you know, maybe even a little bit drug into the ego, but it's serving a purpose. So the message isn't to like beat up on yourself and think you need to change or, you know, walk away from this reading like, oh my God, I need to get my head on straight. This is just a loving message from the universe of reassurance that this will untangle, and you're only tasked with one job, and that job is to care about how you feel and then do things to make yourself feel better. As small as it could be it's just like getting your favorite cup of coffee, but find a way to get into that loving space so that the answers can be delivered, so that the right timing can appear. It's not to, this message is not to push you to change who you are or shame, you know, you from going into your ego. And if you have been doing that, then this is a reminder to ease up on yourself. This is only, the point of the message is to help you uncover what's going on energetically so that you can step back from it for a little bit and allow yourself to move away from it mentally, even if it's just for an hour or a day, and feel how that soothes your soul, and then go from there, Gemini, because this discomfort is temporary, all right? And there is opportunities to heal in time or to have some sort of solution appear, but you got to do the vibrational work first, and the vibrational work is caring about how you feel. Care about how you feel. Prioritize getting back into alignment with feeling good, best that you can. And then, so let's see what the law of attraction has to say, Gemini. This says, no wait. This says, nothing is more important than I feel good. Wow. Don't do anything that you don't really want to do. Keep yourself in a place of feeling good. Reach for the thoughts that feel better and watch what happens. I'll read that again because I feel like that's what the whole reading was about. Don't do anything that you don't really want to. Keep yourself in a place of feeling good. Reach for thoughts that feel better and then watch what happens. Good advice. All right, Gemini, I'm going to leave it there for now. Very super interesting reading. I can see why I felt called to do this. If it made sense to you, that's awesome. If not, maybe it wasn't your reading, but zodiac signs that could be connecting with or have in your chart. I felt Virgo, Scorpio, but I also have Sagittarius, Aries, Aquarius, Cancerian, Libra energy. But take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If it did resonate, please do let me know in the comments down below. Also, don't forget to give me a like, share, and subscribe if you haven't yet. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram for more fun stuff, as I do have videos and content over there. Tarot Time with Dana, all of it linked in the description box below, as well as in the About section of my YouTube, where you can find the donation link. If you'd like to donate to the channel, you can do so there. Otherwise, I'm wishing you the very, very best, Gemini. And until next time, my friends, namaste. Bye.